I find it fascinating that teachers have to prepare their students for a world that's constantly changing, especially in our world, where computers are driving such change that they're completely rewriting entire industries. Energy, finance, transportation, retail. Computers are at the cutting edge of all major innovation today. Healthcare, medicine, cancer research, aerospace, climate change, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. At the heart of all of this technology is code. Code written by people who've learned to manipulate machines to do amazing things. And in our world, which is so entrenched in tech, don't you think it's about time we expose our students to what makes that tech tick? I believe that every teacher in this room should take it upon themselves to get their students to try programming. Whether you're a high school teacher, grade school, homeschool, whether you're a seasoned software veteran, or have never written a line of code in your life, I believe it is the best thing that you can do for your students today. Let's take a step back for a second. Because when I talk about learning to code and programming and computer science, I could be talking about a whole spectrum of things, but really, I'm just talking about the basics. Because when you go down to the basics of any discipline, the basics are easy. Learning to code is easy. Learning to code is really about telling a computer how to do something new. It's about learning a new way of thinking. Because when you want to get a computer to do something outside of its capabilities, computers really aren't all that clever. In fact, in those cases, you actually have to break down exactly what you want the computer to do into simple steps that it understands. That's what it means to code. It's like talking to a friend who's new to your neighborhood and telling them how to get to the library. You wouldn't say, go to the library. They don't know where it is yet. Instead, you have to break it down into a way that your friend understands. You say, go to the end of the road, take a right. Keep going until you reach a tree. Once you reach a tree, if the gate in the fence is locked, keep going until the end of the road, turn around and get to the library that way. And that kind of breakdown into step-by-step instructions is the general pattern for coding. Taking an idea and breaking it down into smaller and smaller subproblems until you can dictate every step of the process for a computer is really all that learning to code is. And if all of that sounds simple to you, the next logical question is, well, how? How do we get our students to experience that? Hello, world. Some of you may recognize that line. It may look super familiar to you. It is a magical incantation that you first type into a terminal when you first learn how to code. But long gone are the days where print hello world is the only way of learning how to code. In fact, most of the activities and software and tools of today look like this. You actually have to squint pretty hard to see that they're learning tools at all. They take an approach of, let's do something cool, and we can use code to do it. All of these activities give students a few words or a few icons with which they can speak to a computer. Get it to do something cool for them. Build a game, build a website, solve a puzzle. It's the student's responsibility then to figure out how to piece these blocks together in a way to get that computer to do exactly what they want. And when things don't work, and students make bugs, and games crash, or buttons don't work, or images appear upside down from what they expected to happen, their own desire of building that perfect game or solving that puzzle directs their efforts into trying to understand what went wrong. Even better is that for those of you who've never written a line of code before, you can't tell them how to fix their problem. Instead, you open the opportunity for you and your students to work together to figure out what went wrong, to figure out why the code isn't matching the thought process that the student had. You're exploring the entire process of coding with your students. And at the end of one of these activities, you'll have opened your students' eyes to what they can make computers do. Whether or not your students go on to become engineers, you will have given each and every one of your students a glimpse into how most everything around them works. But more importantly, how they themselves can affect change in all of those things around them. Computer science education is really about understanding our world. So I encourage you to take that first step with your students and say hello. Thank you.